Welcome on board, chosen one. Funny how everyone pretended they did not see you coming. Stop whatever you are doing right now. Do not scroll past this message. This is an urgent interception routed directly to your screen because the spiritual realm is currently shifting. The algorithm did not bring you here today. Your weary soul dragged you to this exact moment in time because the massive change you prayed for has finally arrived. They always described you the same way. They called you too kind and forgiving. They thought you stayed quiet just to keep the peace. Because of that false perception, they severely underestimated you. But something massive shifted last night, and the same people who ignored your texts are suddenly feeling terrified. They thought their betrayal would finally break you. They expected you to crawl back, begging for an explanation. Instead, your silence activated a dangerous level of spiritual power. The people who plotted against you are watching everything they built start to crumble before their eyes, and a beautiful table is being prepared right in their presence while they watch in total disbelief. But there is a hidden message inside this current timeline. There is a fatal trap being set up right at the finish line. 99% of chosen ones fall for this exact illusion right before their biggest breakthrough. If you leave now, you will completely miss the secret key to recognizing this deceptive trap. The blessing will still arrive, but you will not know how to hold it when the enemy attacks. Take one slow breath right now. Feel that strange tightness leaving your chest. The universe is about to expose exactly what is happening behind closed doors. You are stepping into an era of quiet authority where your presence alone makes the darkness tremble. Your energy is no longer available for their consumption. You have finally become the untouchable master of your reality. I need you to lock your eyes on this screen. Do not let any sudden distraction pull you away from this transmission. The elite forces that profit off your exhaustion are actively trying to scrub this frequency from your mind. They do not want you to realize how much true power you hold over their miserable lives. When a chosen one fully wakes up to their potential, the entire matrix of manipulation begins to shatter into a million pieces. You have probably felt completely isolated recently. The intense loneliness and endless cycle of toxic people felt like a heavy curse. It was absolutely not a curse. Heaven had to ruthlessly remove those counterfeit connections to protect your fragile aura. The universe is actively aligning a massive collision of divine timing and generational wealth in your favor while you sleep. But you must be prepared for the coming backlash. The darkness is panicking because they can no longer read your next move. In the past, they could easily trigger your emotions and feed off your immediate reactions. You used to over-explain yourself to people who were entirely committed to misunderstanding your heart. Now your absolute silence has left them starving for your energy, and they are desperately grasping at straws to get your attention. Do you feel that subtle shift in the atmosphere right now? That is the frequency of absolute victory settling into your weary bones. But I have to warn you about the final test approaching your doorstep. Just because the enemy is defeated does not mean they will surrender quietly without a fight. They are preparing one last desperate illusion to pull you back into their low vibration before you cross the finish line. Do not take your eyes off this message too soon. You will walk right into their final ambush. The secret hidden in this broadcast is the exact decoder ring you need for the coming days. You must understand the specific mechanism they are using to mimic your blessings. Counterfeit opportunities are going to show up at your door, and they will be perfectly disguised as everything you ever prayed for. They want you to break your silence. They want you to step out of your quiet authority. They desperately want you to engage in their chaotic games again. But you are no longer the empath who begged to be understood by the spiritually blind. The crucible of pain has forged you into a rare soul, and you now command massive respect without uttering a single word. Listen carefully to what I am about to tell you. The long season of waiting and suffering is officially over. The dry desert you walked through has suddenly burst into an oasis of divine favor. Every closed door is being blown off its hinges by forces you cannot even see right now. You are standing on the very precipice of a glorious new timeline that you were literally born to rule. Make a promise to your future self right this second. Do not let this vital message fade into the background noise. Stay completely locked in until the final word is spoken. The truth about your ultimate test is about to be revealed in full detail. You are about to discover why your enemies never saw this coming and why they are now begging for your mercy. Let us go back for a moment. Think about the years you spent making yourself small. You bit your tongue countless times just to avoid an argument. You swallowed your own truth. And while you were busy protecting their fragile feelings, they were busy tearing you apart behind closed doors. You carried a heavy weight. You felt so incredibly tired. But you kept smiling anyway. They looked at your pure heart and saw an easy target. They mistook your beautiful empathy for foolishness. They thought your willingness to forgive meant you had no boundaries. It is a cruel world that punishes the exact light it desperately needs. You gave them 1,000,000 second chances. You hoped they would eventually change, but they only grew more arrogant and demanding with time. You poured everything you had from an empty cup. You showed up for people who never even bothered to ask how you were doing. You were the designated healer for everyone else. But when you needed a shoulder to cry on, the room was completely empty. They took your time. They drained your energy. And they left you feeling completely hollow inside. I know about those long nights. I know you cried yourself to sleep, wondering what was deeply wrong with you. You asked the universe why love always felt like a battlefield. You questioned your own sanity. The emotional manipulation was so intense that you actually started believing you were the problem. They gaslit you into a corner. You felt completely trapped in their toxic web. You might be wondering why the universe allowed this. Why did you have to play the fool for so long? Why did heaven sit back and watch you get trampled by people who did not deserve you? There is a profound spiritual reason you were placed in that exact position of vulnerability. You were intentionally positioned there to observe their true nature. The answer will shock you. You were an empath surrounded by relentless energy vampires. They did not love you for who you were. They loved you for what you could provide. You were a convenient supply of pure light for souls that lived in absolute darkness. They mocked your sensitivity. They called you too emotional. But your deep feelings were always your greatest spiritual compass. Before we dive deeper into this revelation, you need to protect your aura. The enemy hates when a chosen one realizes their true worth. Hit subscribe to establish a divine energy receiving station right now. Lock your frequency into this safe space. By taking this small action, you are signaling to the universe that you are ready for the ultimate truth. They laughed behind your back when they thought they had won. They sat at tables you were no longer invited to and painted you as the villain. They spun wild narratives to protect their own guilty conscience. You heard the rumors. You saw the subtle smirks. But instead of defending yourself, you chose the high road. You let them have their petty little victories. Remember how you used to apologize for things you never did. You took the blame just to stop the relentless screaming. You sacrificed your own mental health on the altar of their gigantic egos. You walked on eggshells every single day. You analyzed every word before speaking, because you knew the slightest misstep would trigger an absolute avalanche of rage and punishment. The physical toll it took on your body was immense. Your shoulders were constantly tight with unshed tears. You woke up with your heart racing at 3 in the morning. Your nervous system was trapped in a perpetual state of survival mode. You thought you were just stressed, but your physical body was actually rejecting the toxic environment it was violently forced into. But those narcissists made a massive miscalculation. They judged your quiet demeanor as permanent submission. They thought the person you were in that toxic environment was the only version of you that existed. They looked at your bleeding heart and assumed you would never have the courage to walk away. They thought they owned you completely. They thought they held all the power. While they were busy talking loud, you were busy observing. You watched how they treated people who could do nothing for them. You noticed the subtle lies they told effortlessly. Your silence was never an admission of defeat. Your silence was a brilliant data-gathering mission. You were mapping out their entire psychological framework, while they thought you were just being passive and compliant. The memory of being bullied is starting to lose its sting. You are no longer that terrified person hiding in the corner. You look back at those painful years and realize you survived an impossible spiritual war. You walked through the fire alone. You carried the burdens of an entire bloodline on your back. And you did it with absolute grace and unyielding dignity. They thought your compassion was a weakness they could exploit forever. They celebrated when they pushed you into complete isolation, but they are about to learn a terrifying lesson about divine justice. Your past was never a punishment. Your past was a rigorous training ground, and the very things they used to break you are now the weapons you will use to claim your throne. Stop blaming yourself for the delays. Stop thinking you did something terribly wrong. You were never broken. The universe deliberately slowed you down to protect you from rooms you were never meant to enter. Heaven was actively shielding you from people who were assigned to drain your light. The rejection you faced was not a cruel punishment. It was God's ultimate protection protocol. Breathe that profound truth into your lungs. Let the heavy guilt wash away completely. You felt like you were falling behind everyone else. You watched them succeed while you were stuck in the mud. But their success was built on fragile lies and manipulation. Your foundation was being built on solid, spiritual rock. The isolation was absolutely necessary for your survival. Now, listen carefully to this next part. I am about to answer the question that has haunted you for years. Why did you have to play the fool? Why did heaven let you look so weak while they looked so strong? It was a divine setup. You were placed in the dark, so you could finally see who carried their own light. You had to experience their darkness to understand your true power. If you had reacted with anger back then, they would have labeled you crazy. If you had fought back immediately, you would have played right into their toxic hands. So the universe forced you into absolute silence. Your silence made them comfortable enough to drop their fake masks. They revealed their true and ugly intentions because they thought you were too blind to notice. You are a rare soul. You are a true anomaly in a world full of cheap copies. You process energy on a completely different frequency than the masses. That is exactly why ordinary environments always felt so suffocating to you. Your nervous system was constantly overwhelmed because it was detecting threats that no one else could see. You were never crazy or delusional. You were highly calibrated. The pain you endured was a rigorous spiritual crucible. The betrayal did not come to destroy your future. It came to violently upgrade your intuition and rewire your nervous system. Heaven had to break your old habits of people-pleasing. You had to learn how to be a powerful empath with strict boundaries. The universe used their cruelty to forge your absolute strength. Do not ignore this next sign. The people who hurt you are currently experiencing a strange phenomenon. They are noticing your absence on a deep, energetic level. When you were around, they fed off your bright light to sustain their miserable lives. Now that you have withdrawn your energy completely, they are starving in the dark. They are suffocating in the mess they created. They used to call you weak for walking away from fights. They mistook your peaceful nature for cowardice. But walking away required a massive amount of restraint and spiritual maturity. It takes immense power to hold your tongue when you know you could easily destroy them with the truth. You chose to let karma handle the heavy lifting while you focused on healing. Your silence is no longer a trauma response. Your silence has evolved into a lethal weapon of light. It carries the heavy weight of absolute authority. It is the ultimate disrespect that your enemies simply cannot process or overcome. They want you to scream and yell so they can point fingers at you. But your calm demeanor is driving them absolutely insane with panic. This is where everything starts to make sense. Every tear you cried in secret was watering the seeds of your new timeline. The sleepless nights were a necessary spiritual download. The sudden urge to cut ties with everyone was your soul hitting the emergency eject button. You were not losing your mind. You were finally finding your true spiritual alignment in the chaos. Take a deep breath right now. Feel the heavy chains of the past falling off your weary shoulders. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your new boundaries. You do not have to apologize for protecting your peace with ruthless aggression. You have officially graduated from the brutal school of trauma. The lessons are learned, and the final test has been passed. They look at you now and see a completely different person. The easy target is gone forever. The empath who begged to be understood has vanished. In your place stands a quiet warrior who demands respect without uttering a single word. You have become the exact weapon you were trying to survive all those years. And the spiritual realm is currently standing up to applaud you. Before we move forward, I need you to understand one crucial thing. The universe is not done with them yet. The justice you thought you were denied is actively working behind the scenes. But there is a deeper layer to this phenomenon that you must grasp immediately. You need to know exactly how the darkness operates, so you never fall into their traps again. Do not leave this message just yet. The most shocking revelation is still coming. If you turn away now, you will miss the exact mechanism that your enemies are using to monitor your progress. You must stay anchored in this frequency to receive the full blueprint of your victory. The tables have completely turned, and it is time for you to take your rightful seat at the head. Let me tell you the real reason this happened. The people who tried to destroy you operate on a very low frequency. They survive by siphoning energy from bright souls like yours. And when they saw your pure light shining so brightly in the dark, their miserable spirits immediately recognized a massive food source. They set their traps with absolute precision. They thrived on your confusion and deep pain. Every time you cried and begged for clarity, their twisted egos grew massively larger. They felt incredibly powerful when they could easily control your emotional state with just a single cruel text message. They loved watching you scramble to fix a situation that they deliberately broke. They thought they had finally mastered the art of complete manipulation. But wait for just one critical second. Do not leave this video just yet. There is a hidden mechanism operating beneath the surface of this entire dynamic. The darkness does not want you to hear these next words at all. If you take your eyes off this screen now, you will completely miss the exact reason why their dark system is permanently failing. There is a secret spiritual law that narcissists are tragically blind to. They expected you to play the game forever. They assumed you would always be the loyal empath who quietly tolerated their endless disrespect. But then, something inside your soul violently snapped. You stopped answering their calls and checking their fake social media pages. And while they were busy preparing their next emotional attack, you simply withdrew your beautiful energy without giving them a single warning. That was the exact moment the spiritual shift occurred. They laid a brand new trap to trigger you. They threw a massive and cruel insult your way. They waited eagerly for your emotional explosion, but you offered them nothing but deafening silence. That profound silence hit them infinitely harder than a physical blow to the chest ever could. They suddenly realized their remote control to your emotions was permanently broken. This brings us to the ultimate revelation about your new identity. You are a chosen one who has finally recognized your own immense worth. Heaven is validating your quiet authority right now. Type 111 down in the comments to claim this alignment. Seal your energetic boundaries today. Show the universe that you are fully ready to walk in this new level of untouchable spiritual power. The tables have turned in a spectacular fashion. The narcissists are now sitting in the dark and obsessing over your mysterious silence. They are driving themselves crazy, trying to figure out what you know. They wonder who you are talking to and how you moved on so easily without their constant presence. Your lack of reaction is starving their fragile egos to death. They are suffocating on their own poison. They always needed you, way more than you ever needed them. You were the golden goose that provided unconditional love and endless forgiveness. They are incredibly shallow vessels that constantly leak energy. They can never generate their own light. So when you finally cut off their vital supply line, they experienced severe spiritual withdrawal that they could not hide. Their entire reality is collapsing without your validation. Now they are desperately trying to provoke a response. They will use fake accounts to spy on your happiness. They might even send flying monkeys to deliver terrible news about you. They want to see if they can still make you bleed. Do not fall for their pathetic attempts at re-engagement. They are just throwing heavy stones at a fortress they can no longer breach. You are completely out of their miserable reach now. You were not foolish for loving them deeply in the past. Your capacity to love is a divine gift they could not comprehend. They viewed your big heart as a massive weakness to exploit, but that same big heart is exactly what connects you directly to the divine source. While they are stuck in a miserable loop of manipulation, you are ascending to pure peace. They are finally starting to realize the massive mistake they made. They threw away the only person who genuinely cared about them. The guilt is quietly eating them alive late at night. They pretend to be happy in front of the crowd, but behind closed doors, they are drowning in a sea of massive regret, because they know they ruined a good thing. They know they can never replace the rare anomaly that you are. But I have to warn you about something very important. As their panic reaches an absolute boiling point, their tactics will become much more desperate. You are about to witness the universe removing them from your timeline. Listen closely. The mechanism that is about to destroy them is not something you have to do manually. You just sit back and watch them self-destruct entirely. This hidden mechanism is tied directly to your unwavering vibration. When you refuse to lower your frequency to match their chaos, their dark energy has nowhere to go. It fiercely rebounds right back to the sender. Every toxic arrow they shoot at you is now acting like a spiritual boomerang. They are literally being poisoned by the venom they intended for you. The mechanism I warned you about is finally taking effect right now. Your complete lack of reaction is the exact weapon destroying them. When you stopped feeding their dark ego, their entire reality began to crack under the heavy weight of their own toxic projections. They used to thrive on your pain. Now they are suffocating on your absolute silence, and it is driving them completely insane. They are running around trying to control the narrative. They tell wild stories to anyone who will listen, but people are starting to see right through their fragile lies. Your energy has shifted the atmosphere so drastically that their mask is literally melting off in public while everyone watches them panic. You do not even have to defend yourself. The universe is fighting this battle for you. Every time they speak your name, they look incredibly desperate. They want to paint you as the villain, but the pure light radiating from your soul makes their bitter accusations look utterly ridiculous. They are frantically trying to replace you with new people because they desperately need a fresh supply of emotional energy to survive, but nobody else has the divine endurance to tolerate them. They are hitting a brick wall. You have officially become a massive weapon of light. Your simple presence in a room makes demons incredibly uncomfortable. The narcissists cannot stand to look you in the eyes anymore because they see the divine judgment reflecting back at them. You used to shrink yourself to make them feel big. Now you stand tall, and their fragile egos crumble into dust. You are the untouchable master of reality. But before we go to the deeper signs, I have to address something first. The ones that are harder to explain away are coming very soon. Do not lose focus right now. If you are feeling a strange tingling in your hands, pay close attention to this next part. The spiritual realm is actively downloading a massive upgrade into your physical body as we speak. You might have felt extremely tired over the past few days. Your physical body is shedding years of heavy trauma. You are releasing the toxic attachments that kept you chained to their low frequency for so many miserable years. The sudden exhaustion is just your nervous system finally learning how to relax. You are no longer living in constant fear of their next explosive attack. They used to dictate your mood every single day. A single nasty comment from them could ruin your entire week. But look at how beautifully you have evolved. Their angry texts no longer make your heart race in panic because your spirit recognizes their desperate attempts at manipulation. Their cruel games just look childish and completely pathetic to you now. You have taken your immense power back. The void you left in their life is massive and unfillable. They tried to plug the hole with cheap distractions. They chased shallow validation from strangers. But absolutely nothing can replicate the pure healing energy of a true chosen one who loved them unconditionally. They are wandering around like empty ghosts. Their dark kingdom is collapsing because the foundation was built on lies. Your quiet authority is the most terrifying thing they have ever encountered. You do not argue with them anymore. You do not try to prove your worth to people who are completely committed to misunderstanding you. You simply observe their chaotic behavior with total detachment while you sit comfortably in your own peaceful energy. You watch them self-destruct from a very safe distance. This is exactly why your divine isolation was absolutely necessary. Heaven had to pull you away so you could see the whole board. You are playing spiritual chess while they are still struggling with checkers and throwing childish tantrums. Every move you make now is calculated and backed by divine protection. They never anticipated that their favorite victim would become their ultimate judge. Remember how you used to lose sleep, worrying about their feelings. You were the empath with boundaries that were entirely non-existent. But last night, you slept peacefully while they stayed awake, pacing the floor and wondering how you moved on so easily. The anxiety has transferred from your shoulders onto theirs. The universe has successfully enforced the ultimate law of karma in your timeline. Take a deep breath and let that victory settle in your spirit. The heavy lifting is officially over. But there is a massive shift happening right now that you must be prepared for in the coming days. The physical signs of your new era are starting to manifest rapidly in your daily life. You are going to start seeing undeniable proof that the tables have completely turned. They thought they could keep you trapped in the dark forever. They thought your story ended exactly where they left you. But the creator of the universe wrote a spectacular plot twist specifically for your life that will leave your enemies speechless. And the signs that this miracle is unfolding are going to shock everyone who doubted you. Get ready for the undeniable proof of your supreme victory. The signs are no longer subtle. They are screaming at you from every single direction. The universe is actively confirming your new status as a master of reality. And you have probably noticed a massive increase in strange synchronicities over the past few weeks. Things that used to feel like pure coincidence are now happening with absolute precision. You are perfectly aligned. You keep seeing the same repeating numbers everywhere you look. You glance at the clock and see 111 staring back at you. You buy a coffee, and the total comes out to $7.77. These are not random glitches in the matrix. They are direct messages from the divine realm, confirming that your spiritual upgrade is fully complete. When you see 111, heaven is telling you that your thoughts are manifesting rapidly. Your quiet authority is literally shifting the physical environment around you, and when 777 appears, it means the ultimate spiritual jackpot has been secured in your holy name. Your angels are throwing a massive celebration because you finally broke the generational curse. But the signs are not just numbers. Pay close attention to how your physical body feels in certain rooms right now. You used to feel incredibly drained when you walked into crowded spaces. But now you carry a powerful energy shield that automatically repels toxic people before they can even speak to you. You are a walking fortress of pure and unbothered light. Notice how people who used to disrespect you suddenly avoid eye contact. They can sense the heavy vibration of your new spiritual armor. They instinctively know that your boundaries are no longer negotiable. The narcissists in your life are naturally fading away because your high frequency is literally burning their fragile egos. They cannot survive in your holy presence. Another massive sign is your sudden lack of desire to explain yourself. In the past, you would write long paragraphs trying to justify your feelings to blind people. Now, you simply drop the truth and walk away completely unbothered. You no longer care if they understand your perspective, because your validation comes entirely from the creator of the vast universe. This level of detachment is a pure superpower. You watch the drama unfold from a very safe distance. While the rest of the world panics over trivial matters, your spirit remains completely anchored in deep peace. The storms that used to destroy your mental health now merely wash the dirt off your beautiful shoes. You have become an unstoppable force of quiet nature. Opportunities are also manifesting out of thin air. Doors that were firmly slammed in your face last year are suddenly swinging wide open. People in high places are mentioning your name in rooms you have not even walked into yet. The divine wealth transfer is actively seeking you out because your vessel is finally pure enough to hold massive blessings without breaking. But wait, before you celebrate too early, there is something you absolutely must know. There is one final key to locking in this era of prosperity permanently. If you do not grasp this ultimate truth, the door could slowly drift shut again over time. Heaven is waiting to hand you the final piece of the glorious puzzle, but you must prove you are ready to receive it. This secret key is the only thing standing between you and absolute freedom. The enemy knows about this key, and they are praying you miss it today. They want you to get distracted and swipe away before the final revelation is delivered. But you are far too smart to fall for their cheap tricks now. Your intuition is practically screaming at you to stay firmly planted here. Take a deep breath and clear your busy mind. The signs have proven that you are exactly where you need to be. The angel numbers were the breadcrumbs leading you directly to this specific broadcast. You are the rare soul who survived the storm alone, and now it is time to claim the massive reward that was promised to you. The final spiritual hurdle is approaching fast. The universe has prepared a table for you in the presence of your enemies. They are watching you eat the fruits of your long labor. But there is a specific way you must sit at this table to ensure they never steal from your plate again. The final mechanism to secure your generational wealth and peace is about to be revealed. Prepare your spirit for the climax of this journey. Do not let your guard down just yet. The victory is yours, but the ceremony is not quite over. I am about to expose the fatal trap that the darkness always sets right at the glorious finish line. Listen with every ounce of your beautiful soul, because this next revelation will change the trajectory of your entire life. The final test is finally here to judge your power. The fatal trap I warned you about in the very beginning is finally here. It is the ultimate illusion designed to steal your crown right before you wear it. The enemy is going to send a counterfeit blessing or a toxic person from your past directly to your front door. They will reach out when you least expect it with a fake apology. Their goal is incredibly simple, but violently destructive. They desperately want you to break your glorious silence. They want you to explain your boundaries or defend your new position of power. If you reply to their message or engage with their drama, you step right back into their low-frequency matrix. That is exactly how you lose your divine leverage forever. Do not fall for this completely pathetic and obvious trap. The absolute truth you waited for is finally crystal clear. The reason they walked away in the past was not because your frequency was too low. It was because your pure light was entirely too blinding for their fragile egos. That was heaven, deploying a massive protection protocol to shield you from their poisonous venom. Now they are crawling back because their energetic supply is completely empty. But you must remain completely untouchable today. Let their desperate messages just sit on read. Let their flying monkeys return with absolutely nothing to report. Your absolute silence is the final nail in the coffin of their toxic kingdom, and they are terrified of it. You do not owe them a single drop of emotional closure. When you ignore their final bait, something spectacular happens in the spiritual realm. The generational curse shatters into 1,000,000 tiny pieces. You instantly become the ultimate master of your reality. The heavy chains of trauma fall off your wrists, and the universe releases the massive floodgates of your delayed prosperity. The massive divine victory is officially yours to claim. Look at how far you have come on this brutal journey. You are absolutely no longer the empath who begged to be understood by the spiritually blind. The intense crucible of pain has forged you into a weapon of pure light, and heaven is proud of you. From this exact moment forward, your energy demands massive respect without a single word being spoken. You are a sovereign entity who controls their own destiny. The long and painful waiting season is officially over. Can you feel that massive shift in your spirit right now? That warm feeling spreading through your chest is the frequency of absolute victory. The dark desert you walked through has suddenly burst into a glorious oasis of divine favor because you refused to give up on your sacred path. Every heavy burden you carried for them has been permanently incinerated in the holy fire. You are stepping into the exact timeline you were born to rule. The spiritual war is over, and heaven has declared you the undisputed champion. Your enemies are now nothing more than a fading memory in the rearview mirror of your spectacular life. The Creator is handing you the golden keys to the kingdom while the entire universe applauds your massive inner strength. The pitch-black darkness has finally retreated behind you forever. The dawn of the new era is shining its brightest rays onto your beautiful spiritual crown. But you must lock this powerful frequency in right now. You need to create an absolute shield of protection around this new timeline so the enemy can never steal it again. The beautiful spiritual atmosphere is completely ripe for massive miracles. God is watching your response in this exact second. You have spent countless hours in prayer, and you fought brutal spiritual battles just to reach this glorious mountaintop. Your soul is vibrating at the highest possible frequency. The angels are waiting for your final command. You must anchor yourself firmly to this divine reality before you leave this sacred space. Feel the intense euphoria washing over your weary body. The heavy lifting is done, and the season of abundant harvesting has officially begun. But there is one final physical action required to permanently seal this massive blessing. This physical action will solidify your new identity, and it will close the door on your painful past forever. Prepare your beautiful heart for the final spiritual seal. You are the chosen one who survived the storm entirely alone. And because you did not break under the immense pressure, heaven is about to reward you publicly. Do not let this magical moment slip through your fingers. The power to dictate your future is currently resting right in the palm of your hands. The time for waiting is over, and the time for claiming is finally here today. Take one deep breath and let the total liberation wash through your veins. You are completely free from their toxic control. The universe has successfully aligned everything perfectly in your favor. Now it is time to take the final step, and you must show the spiritual realm that you are fully ready to receive your massive inheritance. The glorious seal awaits your final command. The ultimate shift has happened within your soul today. The past is completely erased, and the beautiful future is calling your powerful name. You stood your ground against impossible odds, and heaven is smiling upon your incredible journey. Get ready to perform the final spiritual transaction that will lock the gates of heaven wide open for your bloodline. The pitch-black darkness has retreated completely. The dawn of your new era is shining brightly onto your spiritual crown. You have fought a brutal war against the invisible forces of manipulation, and while they thought they had broken you in the dark, you emerged completely victorious because your pure light could never be extinguished. The universe is incredibly proud of your resilient spirit today. To lock in this glorious frequency forever, you must take a definitive physical action. You need to create an absolute shield of divine protection around this new timeline. The enemy is watching from the shadows right now. They want to see if you will claim your rightful throne, but they are terrified that you already know your true worth. Do not give them the satisfaction of your hesitation. Type, "I am ready," down in the comments to seal this reality. Let the entire spiritual realm see your public declaration of absolute power. When you type those specific words today, you are building an impenetrable fortress around your beautiful energy field and locking the enemy out forever. The darkness will literally burn if they try to cross your new boundaries. Your divine command is now the absolute law. Hit the like button to activate God's abundant favor. This is not just a simple click on a screen. This is a massive, energetic agreement with the universe. You are physically confirming that you receive the wealth transfer, and you are proving to heaven that your hands are finally open. The glorious gates of heaven are wide open for your entire bloodline. If this fiery message has reignited your beautiful faith, do not keep this great blessing entirely to yourself, because the world needs your light. There is a rare soul bleeding in the dark right now. They are desperately needing a guiding light to show them the way home. They are drowning in the exact same toxic matrix you just escaped from. You must throw them a divine lifeline today. Share this video with someone who truly needs it to multiply your own massive blessing. Sowing the seed of hope today is multiplying the abundant harvest for yourself tomorrow. Your small act of kindness will echo through eternity. When you partner with the universe to heal others, your own protective shield becomes infinitely stronger, and the angels reward your absolute obedience. You become an active channel for constant divine miracles. Subscribe to the channel right now to anchor yourself permanently at the highest vibrational frequency. We are building a massive army of chosen ones who refuse to be manipulated. Your spiritual tribe is gathering from all corners of the earth. By joining this sacred community today, you ensure that you never walk into a spiritual ambush blind because we watch each other's backs. You will always have the exact blueprint for absolute victory. You are the true cycle breaker that your future generations will thank profusely. The deep trauma stops exactly where you stand today. Your children will never know the heavy burden of carrying toxic people on their backs. You took the sharpest arrows during the brutal war, but you paved a glorious path of pure gold for your family to walk on. That is your ultimate and beautiful legacy. Remember that a healed person no longer tolerates confusion disguised as pure love. You will never again tolerate blatant disrespect disguised as honesty. Your energetic field is now a highly restricted and sacred area. Only those who carry their own divine light are allowed to sit at your magnificent table, and the parasites have been evicted permanently. Your peace is entirely non-negotiable from this day forward. The silence hits incredibly different when you realize you were the storm all along. You did not just survive the heavy rain, you became the terrifying lightning that exposed their dark and hidden secrets to the world. And now the sky is beautifully clear, while your lungs are finally filled with the sweet breath of true spiritual freedom. The heavy weight is completely gone forever. Keep your head held extremely high as you walk into this new and beautiful week. Do not look back at the burning bridges you crossed to get here. The past is nothing more than a pile of ashes. The people standing in the ruins of your past could never survive the glorious altitude of your future, so you must leave them behind. Let them watch your massive ascension from the bottom of the valley. You are perfectly protected by the highest forces of pure light. No weapon formed against your beautiful soul will ever prosper again. The jealous narcissists will eventually destroy themselves in the dark. They are going crazy trying to figure out your secrets, but they will never understand the divine favor that rests heavily upon your life. Your only job now is to rest peacefully and receive. Type, "I am ready" one more time to solidify this ultimate spiritual transaction. Breathe in the sweet victory and exhale every last drop of lingering doubt. You are the untouchable master of your own spectacular reality. And while the enemy cowers in absolute fear, the entire universe is bowing gracefully to your quiet authority today. Welcome to your beautiful new life. You are so incredibly loved. Do not let the enemy convince you that this is just a temporary emotional high. The shift you are experiencing right now is a permanent, molecular upgrade to your spiritual DNA. Your weary nervous system is recalibrating to accept massive amounts of pure joy. The long days of waiting for the other shoe to drop are officially over, and the sacred ground beneath your feet is solid rock. You can finally let your heavy guard down. Every single tear you cried in the dark was collected and transformed into your current armor. The universe did not waste a single moment of your profound and agonizing suffering. It was all a perfectly calculated master plan to birth the most powerful version of you. The isolated waiting season was incredibly brutal, but the glorious harvest you are stepping into is going to last for an absolute eternity. You have earned every single blessing coming your way,